Hey everybody, good morning or afternoon wherever you are watching us around the world here on fiestabowl.org. I'm Brad Sussmat. I'll be hosting over the next hour as we get you ready for the Insight Bowl press conferences, starting out with the Iowa Hawkeyes who are just arriving here. We're at the Camelback Inn and Resort, and over the next hour we'll bring you several players, we'll bring you coaches, we'll bring you all the angles around this game as we get ready for kickoff coming up this Friday night. It's been a great week out here so far. I see Dr. Robert Shelton right over to the side of us. He'll be joining us shortly. We'll visit with Dr. Shelton about all the fun and festivities that are going on here. In fact, let's have Dr. Shelton come on in. Come on in. Just walk right on in here. All right. It's free-flowing.
Good.
That's the way it is. Brad Sussmat.
Brad, thanks for having me.
Oh, well, thanks for having us out here. So let's just talk about this first and foremost. Executive Director overseeing these bowl games. How's the week been?
Week's been fantastic. Of course, the weather's cooperated. Teams all got in. They're all settled in their hotels. I went out to see them in practice the last few days. They love the facilities. I'd say things are going real well.
Iowa and Oklahoma, the weather there compared to 70 degrees here. What are you hearing from the Hawkeye fans first and foremost?
Well, the Hawkeye fans, of course, were here last year when it was a little bit cooler.
Yeah.
But they had a fabulous time in spite of the weather, and, of course, they did real well in the game. I think they're real pleased to be here, and, of course, they travel so well.
Mm-hmm. How many fans have come out from Iowa? How many do you anticipate by kickoff Friday night?
We don't have an exact head count, but I'll bet you're going to have between 10 and 15,000.
Wow. That's a lot of yellow and black.
That sure is.
That's the way it should be. The Oklahoma side, how about fans from Oklahoma coming out here?
Oklahoma's done a great job also in selling their tickets. I don't know that they'll hit the same number as Iowa, but I'm sure they're going to be well represented.
So the Iowa fans, there you go. You're hearing it, that you're coming out here in big numbers. That's the way it should be. What does this mean economically to Arizona?
Well, if you add up Insight Bowl, the parade, the block party, all of the things together, and of course it culminating with the Fiesta Bowl, this year conservatively it'll be over $200 million boost to the economy locally.
That is unbelievable. That's great stuff.
Well, and you think about the local fans. We've got such great fans here. You get a chance to see these two premier teams, Iowa and Oklahoma, and the tickets go from $25 up. I mean, where else are you going to go and see these phenomenal athletes for that kind of a price?
This is your first year. What have you learned so far about this makeup of this bowl? You haven't had the games yet, but just the build-up to the bowls in your first year.
Well, I've learned that the community is fantastic in its support. Throughout the Valley of the Sun, whatever city you're in, whatever township you're in, people really get out to support it. Secondly, I'm so impressed with the staff. Mm-hmm. You know, we have 3,000 volunteers, and we couldn't do it without them. But the core, of course, my staff of 35 plus maybe a dozen interns that come with us for about 5 months, and they are professional, they're articulate, they know all the details, and whenever anything goes awry, and when you have something this complicated, you'll have a glitch here or there, right. Boom, they step right in and they fix it.
Well, and I've been here in the Valley 18 years and have covered the Insight and the Fiesta Bowl, and to see it grow and grow and grow and to have teams of this magnitude. Not only, and I know you Iowa fans are watching this right now, Oklahoma's out here, but we also have Oklahoma State and Stanford. He's trying to balance 4 teams at the same time.
Well, there's so much going on. Of course, we have the Insight Bowl. Then there's a professional game. The Seahawks come and play the Cardinals. Mm-hmm. And then the very next day, we've got the Fiesta Bowl. So there's a lot of athletic activity going on here in the Valley of the Sun. And local people, get your tickets because they are still available for both the Insight and the Fiesta Bowl. It's going to be a tremendous opportunity.
And I've heard the Iowa people buzzing about going to the Suns game tonight, too. So there's all sorts of things.
Got a little bit of basketball going down here, too. So if you're a sports fanatic, you've come to the right place.
Appreciate you coming by for a couple of minutes.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. It's Dr. Robert Shelton overseeing the Insight and the Fiesta Bowl. Appreciate him coming by. So the players are coming in as we speak, and we'll have several of the players that will be coming by. We will go to the podium momentarily for Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz, and we'll hear his comments. There are players set up at tables throughout, and in fact, I'm looking over at Jason White right now. I might just grab Jason and see if Jason wants to come on over. Come on over, Jason. We're just live doing our thing, so come on up, and this is how it works. We just bring them on up and have some fun, and as coaches go, Brad.
Jason White.
Hey, you're worldwide right now, so how's it been this week?
Oh, it's been a fantastic week. The folks here at the Insight Bowl have just made it, an unbelievable experience so far.
Now, what are you hearing back home in terms of what the temperature is back home today?
I haven't been too familiar with that. My family's down here. They came on Christmas Day, so I'm not sure. But I
You
hear it's
don't
cold.
care because it's 70 degrees out here.
Yeah, it's nice here. We like that.
The week, what's been the highlight for you so far?
I think getting back into the swing of things, being out on the practice field, kind of being out in the sun, outdoors practicing is really nice. So,
Because you don't have the bubbles or you have to be indoors or any of that stuff.
yeah, there's no bubble, no simulated heat. It's natural outside with the sun. It's nice.
The events away from football, have you been able to do anything cool, fun while you've been out here?
We have. We've been to the mall. We've got to see some of the sights and look at the mountains and see a lot of cacti.
Yeah.
And stuff we don't see in Iowa.
No coyotes?
Haven't seen a coyote yet. No.
They're around.
I bet.
So the build-up for the game, let's talk about the game. How do you see it? If you're a neutral observer looking at this, Iowa, Oklahoma, what do you see as the matchup?
Well, I think it's a big matchup. You got Iowa and then you got Oklahoma, who came in preseason number 1. Obviously, it's a big opportunity for us. It's hard for me to look at it objectively. I'm kind of biased.
I understand that. But so everybody wants to be an analyst every now and then. But
I think it's a good matchup. Oklahoma, obviously, they're bringing a lot to the table. They've got speed, they've got quickness, they've got talent. We're going to do our best to match up with them. On the outsides, down low in the trenches, to see if our guys can get some work done.
all right. Anything in the last couple of days while you're out here that you want to experience or that you look at on your itinerary and saying, oh, this will be kind of cool, this will be kind of fun, or is it just all football now? You all locked and loaded for the game?
At this point, I think it's got to be all football. So I'm pretty locked and loaded.
All right. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
That's how it works here. We just have them come on by for a couple of minutes. Jason White there, running back for the Iowa Hawkeyes. And it looks like up at the podium, they're about ready to get started up there with Coach, and there'll be several players around at the podium. In fact, let's give you a look at what the podium, the setup there is, just so you get an idea of where we're going to be and what we're going to be doing and who's going to be coming on by. So that's the main podium, and that's where Coach will be, and he will be coming up in a few minutes.
Anyway, we really have to have it all going to beat an outstanding opponent, and that's kind of how we're going into this game. So, we know we're up against it a little bit in terms of their talent, their athleticism, and again, I think they're really well coached. So, we're going to have to be at our best, and hopefully we can force a mistake or two on their side. And if they can open the door, if they do open the door, we're going to need to step into it. And we haven't always done that this year, and that's been costly to us in some of our losses. When we've had opportunity, we haven't cashed in. So Friday night, if we're going to have an opportunity, we better be ready to go if the door does open at all.
Last year this time, Brad Rogers after the game. Can you talk about him coming back from a pretty serious injury?
Yeah, that was of all the things that happened last December, that might have been the most serious in my mind, just because we didn't know what we were dealing with at the front end. And it took months, a significant amount of time, almost 2/3 of a year to sort through it all medically. So that was a big concern, obviously. And just to get him back on our team this year was a huge lift, I think, for everybody. Brad's a great young man, good football player, really tremendous young guy. And anytime someone's got health concerns, you worry about that, and that's a little bit more than a sprained ankle or something like that. So great to get him back, and he's done a nice job this year for us. He's got a big role this week for us in this game, and hopefully moving forward, he's going to finish on his career in stellar fashion for us. But that's one of the better things that happened to me this past 8 months. No, it's usually us, so it's kind enough of them to, reciprocate a little bit. But that's football. It's football, and it's college football. Injuries and behavioral issues play into the scheme of things. That's just how it is. And, we've gone in, think about our LSU game. We were down 4 tailbacks back in 2004. That season, it was a 2005 game. And I think they had a die, a couple other guys that could run pretty well in their backfield. So, but Oklahoma's got 2 guys that are very capable. Their guys are a little bit more proven than ours, certainly, and they've lost some good players. But the guys they've recruited, we've been familiar with their recruiting over the last decade. They've got a lot of good players on their team. Well, yeah, it's unusual, and bowl functions typically, when you are paired up with the other staffs, it's usually uncomfortable, quite frankly. And I'll tell you, Gary Pinkel, what a tremendous guy, a tremendous guy last year, and they got a great staff. And I'm not suggesting nobody else doesn't, but it's always uncomfortable. Last night we were with their staff, and it was really fun. It was actually really fun, something I was looking forward to. Bob was a player in '82. My first 2 years there, he was a player and then became an assistant coach. And I've known he and Carroll for forever. Bruce Kittle was a captain of that '81 ball club and a prominent player in our offensive line when I got here in '81 and stayed on for 4 years after that in a coaching capacity. And I think Jay Norvell is one of the, we've always had a tradition of great stories at Iowa. We have to have tradition of great stories if we're going to have success, and Jay Norvell is one of those guys. We were talking about last night, laughing about. I think he played defensive back, linebacker, tight end, and then back to defensive back, 4 positions or 4 changes in 5 years. Ends up being a captain. Can't remember how many interceptions he had in '85. All Big Ten player from being an unheralded walk-on that moved around like a nomad. So to see those guys last night was great. And we'll all compete as hard as we can Friday night against each other. That's the nature of what we do. But obviously there's a big tie in there. And then Bill Brazier, a guy that I've respected so much through the years, played such a prominent role in Jay's life and Bob's life, not only in terms of being players but also coaches. So there's a million storylines here, and that's those are all good. That's really the fun part about what it is we're doing. Yeah, exactly. Last year Marcus was going to be the guy. We were pretty much down to him, and didn't want to dwell on that, but that's where we were last year. And this year, I think in this ball game, it's realistic to think that we'll probably play all the guys that are able to go and healthy, and the ones that have been practicing. So, Jason White's been steady all season. Kanzeri, Bullock are both doing a good job in practice, and we'll probably use Brad Rogers a little bit back there at times. So it's basically anybody can go, and DeAndre Johnson's missed some time, but he'll be available too. I think it looks like he's healthy again and back with us, and so whoever can play is going to play. And the guys have practiced well, so as long as we can get them out of the locker room, the younger guys, as long as we can get them out of the locker room and on the field, we'll see what happens. I think they'll do fine. Well, yeah, I think last year we had a little bit more evidence. Right now Oklahoma's still trying to find Kanzeri and Bullock on film. They've been working on that for about 3 weeks, trying to find some snaps of those guys in there. At least there's some evidence that Coker could do it and had done it. But I didn't want to dwell on it last year. But if he had broken his shoelace or sprained his ankle, we were in some deep trouble there. We had nobody behind him really. So, I guess we have more depth, but we have less proven depth, if that makes any sense. But the guys have practiced well, and that's why you play college football. It's a chance to get out on the field and do what you can do, and they've got great attitudes. And I think they'll both do really well. Well, yeah, I mean that was a really this game to me feels a little bit like that game in that we're playing a team that is just really talented, and so it's we're gonna have to do things just about right and have to make some plays in that game. I think we blocked the punt. I don't think we capitalized on it, but we hit a couple passes on blitzes, things like that, and we're just gonna have to do the same thing. And I think Marcus Simmons ran in for a touchdown in that game. I don't know how many carries he had that year. Not many. I mean, you think about him and Warren scoring touchdowns. That was Warren's first touchdown in college, and I don't think Marcus had too many. It wasn't more than a handful, if that many. So, whoever's on deck's got to play, and that's that's how we'll approach it. And the guys have practiced well, so now it's getting close to being time to go out and play. Well, that's one of our more veteran groups, and I think they've really performed pretty well all season long. And that's my feeling. I look at the game tape. I think they've really had a good season, and it's going to be really critical. They lead our team Friday night, but they can't do it all. But they have to do their job. Certainly, they've got to block well, and that's one of the points we made to the team. Is that we've lost a guy that had 281 carries, a lot of yards, 1,300 yards. So. When we talk about next man in all the time, that's a phrase we stole a decade ago. We didn't invent it, but we talk about that frequently with our guys. And part of next man is everybody else has got to, grab on a little bit and help out and do a little bit more than they were doing before. Anytime you have a newer or an inexperienced player jump in there, the guys that have been playing have got to do things. So, we're going to have to block a little harder and a little longer inside. We're going to have to block better on the outside and, give our guys a chance to do the things that they do. The guys that haven't played a lot have to, we got to get them started. At running back or, I don't know if we've had that conversation yet, but, right now, we'll just kind of play it by feel, I guess, more than anything else. But I think it's probably realistic to think they'll all be in there in the first half. The guys I mentioned a minute ago, they'll all be playing. And, we have some specific situations cut out for certain guys. But I think overall we're just going to let them play a little bit and see how they do and kind of go from there. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm not big on conspiracy theories, I guess, but we've had series of things that have happened, and that's football. I think probably the most prominent thing about it is that when it happens at a position that's everybody knows about, it becomes a bigger issue. Certainly, we've had our issues at other positions too with injuries, guys leaving the team, what have you, and sometimes it's not as pronounced, but. There's no question about it. We've had, last year we had a series of guys in and out of the lineup, injuries, whatever, and, this year's been kind of the same way. So, hopefully we'll get ahead of the game and, get back to when Fred Russell was playing. We got 2 seasons and he was pretty much in there all the time. So, it's not always size related. A lot of it's fortune, luck, all that kind of stuff. But we'll just worry about this game and then we'll analyze that when we get done. Yeah, I think they're doing well. Yeah, I think, and as you might imagine, we've done a lot of work on that the past 3 weeks, just trying to, because that's the biggest part of it is it's different for them. It's not something you get to practice live all the time and, what have you. So we've tried to get ample work to make sure they're caught up a little bit, and both in terms of execution, but also recognition. And, these guys throw a lot at you. So it's been they're very multiple defensively. So it's been a great learning experience for these guys. No, I got nothing right now, so we'll address that when we get back. So, yes, I'm sorry. Oh, it's just something we've done, and I can't speak for other people. I kind of try to pay attention to what other people do, but a big part of this is when your final schedules fall, and in our case, we've only. We're on the second week out of finals, if you would. So, we really don't do much with our players at all during finals week. So you lose a big block of time there. You would lose a 5-day block, basically. We did practice the last night of finals, Friday night. And amazingly, we had 8 or 12 guys not there because they had finals at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock on a Friday night, if you can imagine that. Thought there was a law against that, but apparently not. So, after we get through that, and then the next day we had graduation, we had 12 seniors graduate. I excused the seniors from that practice. So our first day together as a team with our focus just straight ahead, not on academics and all that stuff, was a week ago Sunday. So I think, from my vantage point, we're usually behind a lot of schools. I know Missouri last year, I believe Oklahoma had their finals a week earlier. So they're able to get a real good jump on things, and I think it's good for our team to be together. It's great for us to be outside. It's our first chance we've had to be outdoors, and that makes a big difference. Being indoors is not the same, and gives you more room, throw some deep passes, things like that. And so I just think for us it works. There's really no right formula. It just depends on, what your academic schedule is, and then just how things are going with your team. Yep. But. I think James has really had a good season, and I just off the top of my head I can think of 2 passes he wishes he could have back, and I wish he could have back, and they're both just kind of dumb plays. But that's it's not bad for a full season's work, 12 games work. We all had great confidence with him coming into the season. We had seen him 2 years ago play against Ohio State, and what it basically came down to the Big Ten championship game in 2009, and he really played well. We came up short, but he played well, and so I think all of us expected him to perform well this year. I think he has, and I think his best football is ahead of him. So, tremendous young guy, great person, really a strong leader, and we're just really happy with the way he's come along. I'm sorry. Well, yeah, yes and no, but it's disappointing losses unfortunately are part of sports, and when they come your way, and I give Minnesota credit, and hopefully we could have done a better job there too. So we got some responsibility there. It's usually the case in losses, but you have to move on. You have to move on, and I think traditionally our guys have done a decent job of that. They usually have the ability to try to learn from what good or bad what happened on one day, and then we try to flip the page over and get going that next week. And we played a team like Michigan. Boy, your focus had to be on them, and it's the same way going into this game. It's a different kind of challenge in bowls because the month's so long and you have so many things going on. But when you play an excellent football team, you better be moving on. You better be focused on what's in front of you.
All right, we're going to step away from Coach for a couple of minutes. Brad Sussmat back with you as we get ready for the Insight Bowl this Friday night here in the Valley, where it's 70 degrees today. Take that, 70 degrees. We've got Jordan Bernstein here, starting safety for the Iowa Hawkeyes. What's it back home today, do you think?
I don't know. I'm guessing around high 20s, low 30s, something like that. A little, it's not as nice as it is here, that's for sure.
Can we say 70 degrees together into the camera? No, I'm just kidding.
70 degrees. I mean, I can't complain about it, that's for sure.
That's for sure. How's your week been? How's it been out here for you, Jordan?
I mean, the week's been great. I can't complain at all. I mean, like you said, I'm leaving cold weather to get into nice sunny weather, and I mean, it's great. So we're out there practicing hard and just trying to have a good time in between.
Now, you were here last year, and now when you found out you were coming back, what was the feel about coming back to Arizona?
Oh, I was really excited about it. I mean, all the Insight Bowl people, they've been helping us, and all the staff, they were great last year, and I mean, they've been doing a great job this year, and I mean, we love them.
What did you do this year, or have you done, that you didn't get to do last year? Like, okay, this is pretty cool. I got to experience this in Arizona.
Well, mostly I've just been kind of relaxing. We got to see a lot more mountains and stuff like that because we had a little more free time. So we've been kind of doing that. But for the most part, just trying to get prepared for the game.
Jordan Bernstein with us for a couple of minutes. We talk Hawkeye football here on the Insight Bowl as we get ready for the game on Friday night. All right, break this game down then. Break it down. Put the analyst hat on.
To break it down, I mean, they're a great team. Like, as you know, Oklahoma, there's great prestige behind that program, and they're going to come out, and they're a fast-paced offense. They have a great quarterback who's going to throw the ball. They have great running backs. So, I mean, as a defense, we just have to fly around and get 11 hats to the ball.
Mm-hmm. What do you see out of Landry Jones?
I mean, I see what you guys see. I mean, I see he's a guy who can throw the ball. He can make his reads, and I mean, he can really get you if you're out of position. So as a defense, we just have to make sure that we play our assignments and just try to do everything right.
For the fans, does he remind you of somebody that you played earlier this season?
I mean, I feel like he's a little different, actually, because I don't think we've played a passer, like a guy that's this pure of a passer. I mean, he can just put the ball where he wants it out there. So, I mean, we're looking forward to it, and it'll be a great challenge.
Now, I know you're focused on game. You're locked and loaded for the game. When you're done with this game, what's next for you?
I'm not really sure as of right now. I'm just going to go and continue working out and just try to see what happens.
Senior Bowl, Shrine Game, any of that type of stuff?
I'm not sure yet, actually. I don't believe so, actually.
Yeah, you're just going to play this game and we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens.
All right, thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
All right, so let's take it from here, and we are going to go back to Coach, I believe, for a couple of moments. Let's go back up to the podium and hear from Coach.
Jump at that. I mean, I'm going to make sure try to make sure we have the right people in place. No, that's really not a big part of my thought process. I'll try to do my due diligence and then go from there. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say frustrated is probably not the right word. That's the world we live in. I get that. I understand that. I prefer as a coach to focus on who's here and who's playing, who's getting ready. But that's the way I'm built. Mentally, that's how I'm built. And, I don't see that changing. So that's how it is coaching. If somebody sprains their ankle and they can't play, we're going to go with the guys we have and do our best to get them ready. Hopefully they'll reciprocate, which I think our guys have done. And, the season goes on, and it's especially with injuries, you feel badly. We talked about Brad last year. That's the hardest thing you deal with in coaching. But it's part of what we do, just like discipline issues are part of what we do too. And if you're a parent, you understand that, and you do what's right, and then you keep moving. Boy, now there's an open-ended question right there. What annoys me? Well, I don't think we have time. This is only an hour session, right? No, I'm just teasing. But, that's part of my job. And I tell younger guys, guys leaving college and guys that, hey, what do you think about this and that? Every job has a percentage of things that you don't want to do. Every job. If there's a job where you're 100% happy all the time. So, dealing with injuries, dealing with things that happen, it's no fun, but that's part of the job description too. So, but obviously I'd rather be focused on who's out there practicing, team we're playing. That's what I really enjoy is the football part of things and, what have you. But, that's part of coaching. The other part's part of coaching. And if I don't like it, then I need to get out of it. And it's as simple as that. What happened Monday? Help me out.
All right, we're back as we continue on here. Brad Sussmat with you. James Morris now, sophomore linebacker for the Iowa Hawkeyes. We were just talking off camera about this morning you were able to do something pretty cool before coming here to the event.
Yeah, we were on the bus and we were on our way out here and they just drove us around the neighborhood a little bit. We got to check out some of the houses, so it was pretty neat, a little change of scenery from what we're used to back in Iowa City.
Now, when you say the neighborhood, why don't you describe the neighborhood a little bit of what you saw today?
Right, so there were mountains, and then on the top of the mountains, they had mansions. So, mountains and mansions just sounds like a pretty good place to live.
And these weren't just any little old mansions. These were like 1/2 acre, 2 acre mansions.
Right, I mean, we saw ones, that looked like castles, Ferraris in the driveway, it looked like an episode of MTV Cribs.
That's not bad. How's the week been for you?
Pretty good. It's flown by. We got here and we were working pretty hard from the start, and we're still working hard, but things are scaling back. We're just really focused on playing our best game against Oklahoma.
Have you been able to experience stuff away from football enough, or are you just locked down for football now?
Coach gives us a lot of time, to explore the area and really enjoy the bowl experience. So I've gotten to tour the town a little bit. I've been to Scottsdale Fashion Square.
Not a bad place.
It's pretty nice. I couldn't afford anything in it, but it was nice. It was nice to walk around. So I got to see the town a little bit.
No malls like that back in Iowa City.
No, there's not.
No, it's a pretty upscale place. Break down this game for the fans. What do you see on the football field? I know you're going to say, well, we're going to win, but what do you see as matchups and things that are of interest?
Well, speaking from a defensive perspective, I know that, their offense likes to run up-tempo. They got a lot of talent, a lot of speed, a lot of size, everything you're looking for, very high octane. So for us, it's going to be about, being able to match their tempo, out hitting them, and then ultimately, containing the big plays, and really playing the numbers game. The less big plays we give, the better chance we have of winning the game.
When you see Landry Jones, and this is again for fans, does he remind you of anybody that you played against this season?
This season, nobody really, but I'll say Blaine Gabbert last year when we played Missouri. I feel like he's maybe a similar type player. He's got a rocket for an arm. Very accurate. Very experienced player, and we can't count on him making mistakes. For us to win the game, we know that we're going to have to force the issue and really, try and get him out of his comfort zone if we want to have a chance to win.
Enjoy your week. Thanks for coming by.
Hey, thanks. I appreciate it.
All right, let's send it back up to the podium to Coach.
All that stuff. I mean, that's just I think my wife and I just both hoped all of our kids liked something. Had a little passion for something besides sitting on the couch, which, and we're lucky. All 4 of our kids, our older kids, have been, really doing well, and we're really happy for them. We actually have 2 daughters. Nobody ever asked that, but we actually have 2 daughters that are alive well, and we're extremely proud of them, too. I'm sorry? Well, yeah, I mean, you can't play without a center. They're the MVP, I've always said that. Can't start a game without one, right? So, Yeah. Yeah, I will say that if our kids were quarterbacks, I don't think they'd be playing in Iowa. That'd be, yeah. Their mom would not allow that. It'd be just excruciating. That's worse than watching your kids wrestle. So, not that we would know. We've never had a quarterback, in our family. I'll consider anybody. Anybody I think is a good fit for our program. I'm wide open to anybody, including former players. We got a lot of former players that are in coaching now. I'll stoke the rumor mill. Here we go. So. Yeah. He knows more football than I know. I know that. He's he's pretty good. But he's in a pretty good place right now too. So I don't know if he's available right now. But I'm not saying we're going down that road. Yeah, it's probably illegal. Yeah, he is my kid though, I guess so. If it's the best thing for him, then I think it'd be great. But it's like all our kids. We've tried to make sure they've explored all options possible, and really they've got to do what they think is best for them. So if it turns out that way, that'd be great. But I'm sure not trying to steer it, encourage it, discourage it, whatever. Other than the one thing we have encouraged with all our kids is to look around and see places, and so. If they end up here, that's great. But we want to make sure they know there are other options available too, and they got to go where their heart is. And both our daughters are good illustrations of that. One daughter went to a different school. She couldn't get into Iowa, so she did find another Big Ten university, but came back to grad school. Came to her wits. And our other daughter ended up at Iowa. And that's both had similar options, but it was a better fit. One was a better fit for one, the other. So that's kind of how it goes with our kids. Do they? The daughters? Yeah, I really don't think they care at all. They're both pretty happy, so yeah, they just assume be way over on the right. Yeah, I guess, yeah. Without going in great detail, they're both outstanding players. They're really talented guys, versatile guys. Very tough guys, competitive guys, and so they're both really good players. Yeah.
All right, we're with Marvin McNutt Jr. as we get ready for the Insight Bowl. Brad Sussmat, breakaway from Coach. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. You get the big show, the big podium. It's fun up here, huh? Getting all the attention?
It is fun up here. As a receiver, you like the attention.
Yeah, that's the way it should be. How's your week been?
It's been good. We've been out there practicing and, got to our venue and been out here, having a good time, enjoying the scene and just it's been fun, with the Insight Bowl reps they've done a great job getting us to and where we need to be, and it's been A+, food everywhere we went.
Right, and it's 70 degrees today.
Definitely, you can't beat that.
What's been your highlight away from football so far while you've been out here?
2 nights ago, we all went bowling, and got to beat some of the young guys up.
And I heard you looked at some of the big houses around.
No, I didn't. I didn't look at no houses.
You missed the houses?
I missed the houses.
Some of the other players, I guess, looked at the
houses. Yeah, I think they looked at the houses. I didn't get to see any of the houses. We went to the mall a few times, but not the houses.
And the mall's not bad. Scottsdale Fashion Square.
Not at all. It's a great mall.
Yeah. Talking football, you look at the game, and what is it that you see? I mean, obviously, you're going to say we're going to win and all that,
Yeah.
but if you're just breaking it down, saying, okay, it's Oklahoma, Iowa, what do you see for the fans to watch the game on Friday night?
Well, both teams are going to go out, and it's another chance to play football. So that means it's going to be exciting, and you're going to have both teams trying to work their game plans versus each other. I mean, they're a solid team with a lot of athletes, and we just have to go out and execute and eliminate negative plays.
You guys are the underdog, from what I see. How do you like that role?
Regardless, underdog or the favorites, you get another chance to play football. You love it.
Yeah. And thanks for the visit. Enjoy yourself.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
All right. Let's send it back up to the coach at the podium.
And we're trying to help them get where they want to get throughout their college careers. And ultimately it's his decision, his family's decision, and I wouldn't want to speculate right now. But I think it's an open book at this point. No, not at this given point. We'll spend a lot more time on that once we get through this game and January probably. January start thinking a little bit more about it, but it's like every season. There's always, unless you go undefeated, which we've never done, there's always going to be moments you go back to or situations you go back to, and the ultimate challenge is how do you better prepare to handle those situations a little differently, a little better, and get a little bit better results, those types of things. So that's what we'll spend a lot of time on once we get through the month of January. Mm-hmm. Yeah, a lot of that is depth-oriented and injury-oriented, that type of thing. I think a lot of our issues have been. And, it's interesting, one of the biggest plays in our season, if you quite frankly want to know, you go back and look at it and look at the rule book, and it was a bad break. It's, and as a result of that, it's not going to come back. It's not going to change any outcome, and that's part of football. As a coach, a player, you live with those things. But the one thing I learned out of that situation is that needs to be a reviewable play, and I'll push for that in this out of season. But I certainly don't blame any parties involved there, because that's a play that is impossible to officiate. It's too fast. It happens too quickly. There are too many bodies in it. That needs to be a reviewable play, and I had never given thought of that until that Sunday, or that Saturday evening, watching it on tape. So. I learned something there, and I'll advocate for that. But that was a big play in our season, certainly, and but that's football too, and so you move on and just keep going. But in the big scheme of things, I think we can always do better, and that'll be our aim.
So the linebacker is a real strength for Iowa, and Christian Kirksey was with us for a couple of minutes. We had James Morris earlier. How's your week been?
My week been very good. We had a nice high tempo in practice. I'm enjoying the Arizona weather.
Look in the camera. 70 degrees.
You can't be 70 degrees.
Anybody back home you want to rub it in on a little bit?
All my brothers. I'm not wearing my boots. I'm wearing shorts.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. Rubbing my feet in the sand.
You're having a great time out here.
Having a great time.
So what's been the highlight away from football? Did you go look at the houses? James was mentioning you guys looked at mansions this morning.
I was looking at the mountains.
Yeah.
Just wondering what's at the top of the mountain. Yeah. I thought about climbing one day, but
it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
You got to stay ready for your game, because you've got a very talented Oklahoma team coming here. Let's talk about the game itself. What do you see in the matchup?
They're very fast. They're high tempo. Their offense, they're a very fast-paced offense, and our defense just have to be prepared and match their level of intensity.
What when you see Landry Jones, and that's what everybody's focusing on, is he compare? James said a little bit of Blaine Gabbert from last year, maybe.
You can compare him to Blaine Gabbert last year. He, in the pocket, he made great decisions. I see that he has a great connection with his receivers, and we just got to make sure we put a little pressure on him. Don't let him be so comfortable in the backfield.
All right. Well, go enjoy yourself. Thanks for coming by.
All right. Thank you.
All right. There you go, and let's send it back up to Coach at the podium. You're done. All right, Coach is with us now. You just finished up your media press conference. Strangest question you're asked here today. We're getting to that stage now,
that's
Coach.
That's a good question. Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think there was anything too strange or too unpredictable, but it was pretty much predictable. A running back situation, things like that.
Love talking to your players. The defensive players went and looked at mountains and mansions today, they were telling me. James Morris said, I've never seen houses that big. The experience for your team this week, tell me about that away from football.
These mountains are a little different than the ones we have in Iowa. If you've never been to Iowa, I think we've got Sunset Mountain or something like that up in Dubuque, which probably elevation about 400 feet. So this is a little bit different terrain. It's just been absolutely fantastic. The last year we were down in Chandler, which was a little different feel, and we thoroughly enjoyed that. And now we're in a different environment. But both times it's just been absolutely fantastic. These are our first two bowls actually in the desert. We've typically gone to Florida and Texas. So it's just been a great experience. And I think that's one of the neat things about the bowl system. It allows players and coaches to experience things that they never would normally experience. And we try to talk to our players about that too, just to how fortunate all of us are, and hopefully they appreciate that. We all have a job to do, a game to play, and all that. But it's there's a lot more to it too. So it's a really enjoyable and a gratifying experience for all of us.
How do you balance football and fun? Because a bowl game is a reward, and balancing football. And are you pleased where you are from a football standpoint?
I think so. You're never healthy enough. We've had a lot of little nagging injuries, things like that. And that's when you practice, that's what happens. So that never changes. But the guys have done a good job of being focused and working when it was time to work, be it in meetings or on the practice field. And then, we've done this enough now where we build a lot of free time, and we try to at least. And that's one of the reasons we like to come down a little bit early, give our guys a little chance to enjoy the area, maybe more than they would if it was a rushed week. So I think that's a big part of the bowl thing. And, it started back in the 80s, just the way we did things kind of shaped our beliefs a little bit. I think it's extremely important that the players get to experience the place that we're at and really enjoy it a little bit, and the people, the hospitality. And I can tell you our players have really enjoyed this thoroughly.
I've talked to a number of your defensive players over the last hour, and they all mentioned, in talking about Landry Jones, just talking X's and O's, and in particular linebackers said, we see a little bit of Blaine Gabbert from last year when we played. Can you talk about that a little bit and just your opponent?
Yeah, it's amazing. Very, very similar. And if you look at the quarterback situation, Gabbert was the 10th pick in the draft, and I'm sorry. I wouldn't have been surprised that he'd gone higher. But boy, what a great player he was. And now we get to face Landry Jones, who's really in that same caliber. And whenever he does come out this year, next year, he'll be a first rounder as well. So two tremendous quarterbacks, but also they've got a great system. Missouri is a very tough team to defend. They really spread the ball around and threaten you a lot of different ways. Oklahoma does that same thing, and they play at a pace that's very hard to duplicate in practice. Then you flip it over. Missouri had 30, 35, 37 sacks, somewhere in that ballpark last year. Oklahoma's in that same category. So they're a very aggressive defense like Missouri was, very athletic, and both teams are extremely well coached. So very similar circumstances, and, it took everything we had plus something to win last year. It's going to be the same situation this year.
Last question, I'll let you go. For the fans back in Iowa and those watching worldwide on our site, what do you do these next 48 hours? How do you break it down in football and fun? Is the fun behind them now? It's all football.
Yeah, pretty much so. And we've tried to encourage them to get all their stuff out of the way, and they've done that. And I think really a couple of nights ago, I think the players started coming a little bit earlier and getting their rest, that type of thing, and that was part of the plan too. But this is like a Thursday practice for us. We'll have a short workout this afternoon. Looking for tempo, timing, hopefully no mistakes, and just so the players come off the field confident. That's a big part of this day before the day of the game practice. And then from here on in, it's pretty much mental. We want the guys to relax. They'll still be able to visit with family members, that type of thing. But we kind of ask them to give thought to the schedule well in advance, a week out, figure out what they're going to be doing, and really treat it like any other night game that we play, and we've played night games before. So I want the guys to have a mental plan for what they're going to do, and I think our older guys understand that. So hopefully we'll be okay. And it's a long wait, no matter what. If you kick it off at 8 o'clock, it's a long day. So we'll try to get them diverted a little bit and move them around.
If it means anything, Coach, over the last hour, all your players said the right things and really meant it, and talking with them off camera that they feel like they're ready. Thanks for coming by. Enjoy the rest of your stay.
Brad, thank you, and just thanks to everybody here. This has been just a fantastic stay.
There you go. It's Iowa coach Kirk Ferentz here as we wrap up the press conference. Now coming up, we'll have Oklahoma in about a half hour, and we'll talk with the Sooner coaches and players along the same lines. Thanks for joining us here with our press conference coverage for the Insight Bowl.
Attention media, the Oklahoma Sooners have arrived. They'll be coming through that door. We'll have players in jerseys at each table, and then players that's named on the risers. Coach Stoops will be over here in just a few minutes. So check with anyone in a yellow jacket myself, Christian Clemson, or any of our volunteers at pull over blackboard if you have any requests. Thank you.
Hi again, everybody. Brad Sussmat at the Inside Bowl Press Conference Media Day. We heard from Iowa earlier. Now the Oklahoma Sooners, the Big 12, have entered the room here. And joining us before we head up to catch Coach Stoops at the podium is Dwayne Woods, the chairman. How has your week been?
Great, Brad. Good to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to be back at it and having some fun.
Oh, absolutely.
The week for you, what's been the highlights?
Well, you know, it's fun having these two teams back into town. Of course, we know Oklahoma real well, and Iowa was here last year and had a great bowl game here at the Inside. Great folks, though, and great fans. So that's been fun this week. Obviously, we got another two great teams coming to town. We got Oklahoma State and Stanford, and their fans are coming in droves, and 2 bowl games in 4 days. So a lot going on.
No sleep for you. Let's talk about Insight. I've seen this game grow and grow and grow, and it's become a fixture. And I think when this game initially started, there was, well, I don't know if this is going to make it or not, but it's here, and it's doing it in a big way.
Yeah, I mean, when we first took it over, it was the Copper Bowl, of course, brought it up from Tucson, and it's been building. I think this decision last year to move to a higher-ranked team, a little higher payout, has really paid off. We've got some great matchups. Last year's a great game. We had a 400% increase in our viewership last year, which was huge, and we had our largest sellout. I think we'll continue that this year. We've got a great game with two great teams, so we're pretty excited about it, and I think we've been building on it, and hopefully we'll move that bowl to the level of the Fiesta Bowl and end up with two phenomenal bowls.
How's the Insight relationship been?
It's been fine. You know, they're a company that's been growing internationally,
Right.
so a lot of their focus has been on some international acquisitions. But they've been a great partner, and I think they've enjoyed last year. I think they were very pleased with the game, and I think they'll be excited this year as well.
We'll go to Coach Stoops momentarily. I look up at the podium. He's not quite there yet. Dwayne Woods, the chairman, is with us. Hearing from Oklahoma, they're back here again. Iowa's been here before. Teams, though, like coming back here. I found that talking to the Iowa players that this is one place, okay, we'll come back any place, anytime.
Well, it's a great venue. We've got great weather. It's a great community. We really try to give them the same level of hospitality at the Insight Bowl that we have in any other events. But we do enjoy having them back. And I think last year when we did kind of our exit interview with them, they had a great time, a great bowl experience. And Coach Ferentz is an outstanding coach, and Gary Bott of their AD has been a great supporter of the bowl. So, we're thrilled to have them back. Oklahoma has been here 7 times to a bowl game here in the Valley, and they kind of know the program here, and they love the weather and the venue. So, yeah, it's been great. Really fun to have them back.
Thanks for coming by. Enjoy your day.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Dwayne Woods with us for a couple of minutes. As I look out, I see that Landry Jones is over at a podium. The star quarterback for the Oklahoma Sooners is sitting down across the way. And over the next hour, we're just going to have players come bopping on in. Coach Stoops will be walking in here shortly. And as they come in, we will bounce between players and coaches and dignitaries and people that we believe will tell you the story of what's going on out here in Arizona. Stepping up to the podium, I believe, as we look up there, Coach Stoops is shaking some hands, but not quite ready to talk yet. We want to make sure that we get his opening comments. The game itself will kick off Friday night, and the temperatures out here, if you're not aware, it's been in the 70s and will be in the 70s over the next week. So wherever you're watching this, if you're back in Oklahoma and you want to see everything all access Sooners, that's what we're going to be about. But I got to rub it in a little bit. It's going to be about 70 degrees again today, and at kickoff it will be in the mid-60s for the game. It will be a late kick out here in Phoenix. The game will be kicking off at 8 o'clock, but they are expecting temperatures to be in the 70 degree range during the day, and then at night it will be in the 60s. Again, Coach Stoops will be stepping up to the podium and will be answering questions, and I believe I see him stepping up there now. Let's hear from Coach Bob Stoops of the Oklahoma Sooners.
Yeah, it's different. I was with the Iowa people last night at a function and with Kirk, and he and I had so much to catch up on. We were the last ones to get into dinner because we were still outside talking. So I always have had a great sentiment and, just been very grateful for my experience and my brothers as well, at Iowa. The great, coaches like Hayden Fry, Bill Brazier, and then guys like Kirk and Dan McCarney, Barry Alvarez, are sort of like, I say it kind of like older brothers, that really took me under their wing and helped me in a ton. So, and then, every Saturday, my wife starts the day off by yelling in the house to the kids, go Hawks, So it is. There'll be no yelling of that here this Friday, though. So, but that's kind of what she yells around the house to the children. During the day leading up to the games, always go Hawks. So anyway, it's a little different, but you just have to go against them for 4 hours. No, a year ago we had the whole bus outfitted in Hawkeye gear when we came to watch them a year ago, and my wife actually went out that morning and got all the kids and got me a sweatshirt, and so there'll be none of that this year. Well, what happened the last part of the season, we ran up against a couple of teams that were really hot. We weren't so hot and got beat in a tight, hard played, hard fought game at Baylor, where a great player made a few exceptional plays at the end of the game to win it. And then we ended up winning the next game against Iowa State. And then we lost to a very good Oklahoma State football team that has had one of the best years in the history of their program. And they beat us soundly at their place. And we had too many turnovers in that game. We're playing without quite a few starters in that game as well. So you put the two of them together, we weren't near good enough, and they beat us quite well. I think they've been great. They've really worked hard before we took a break for Christmas. They've worked hard the days we've been here. So I've been pleased with how they've worked and coming into the game. A very disciplined, fundamentally strong football team. A great offensive line like they always have. Tough running the football. Vandenberg, their quarterback, I think is doing an excellent job for them. Big play guy and a physical receiver in McNutt. Defensively very sound, disciplined. They make you work to beat them. Physical guys up front. Well, a 10th win or always to win your last football game makes a difference. Whether it's your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, whatever it may be, they're all important. Well, the defensive side of the ball playing against Iowa will have to be extremely disciplined in our gap responsibilities. We've got to be physical and defending and getting off of blocks. You have to tackle well. Along with defending the run game come the play action passes, so we're going to have to see those, stay on top of receivers. So you got to play a good sound game defensively to have a chance to win. When I played at Iowa, did I know if I wanted to go into coaching? I figured it out my senior year. I went to, how on campus they bring the companies in and you put together your resume and you have a couple of job interviews. And I think I interviewed with Coca-Cola and Procter & Gamble. And I came out of it just chuckled at myself. I said, you got no business doing that. And I knew right then, I said, I can't do something else other than be on the field and be a part of it. And fortunately, Hayden Fry, Bill Brazier, my longtime defensive coordinator and coach, when I brought it up, how would I be able to be a graduate assistant? They were happy I wanted to be, felt I would do well, and gave me the chance and gave me the start. Yeah, my mother never thought I'd get a real job. So, I was 5 years as a graduate assistant and volunteer. In those days, you were allowed to be a volunteer assistant as well, and I did some things through the foundation is why I was listed as a volunteer with football, and I worked with the foundation. But in the end, it was well worth it. Through those 5 years after playing, I was with great people. The whole lineage of coaches that were there, and as I said, some of them were very much like father figures. Other guys were like older brothers, and they all really did a great job of taking not only myself but some of the other graduate assistants under their wing, and we learned from the best. All those guys were true professionals in the coaching world. Always, I'm always looking and paying attention to what Iowa did each week. I'm sorry. Yeah, the running backs, Roy Finch, Brennan Clay. We also throw in Trey Millard once in a while. Our big fullback is also an excellent runner. So we'll use all three of those guys in different ways. Yeah, Travis has fought through that, that broken, toe the entire year and finally feels good. It takes that long to heal, and I'm sure it'll matter to him. He's had good, excellent practices, and that makes a big, it's a big deal being able to change direction a little bit better, being a little quicker. I think it'll really help him. It always helps getting, the guys a little, some guys that haven't played as much, more snaps, and it's sort of like a mini spring practice. You have some of those before we got out here. We had a few of those back at home. Well, I always believe the running game, regardless of the running back, is the guys up front, and all their guys up front are still there. So I'm sure they'll have guys that, if there's seams in space, they know how to jump in those holes and run it. Well, I don't know about that. It's just, everybody's a little bit different. For instance, through our league, anymore, there's more teams, for instance, Kansas State, who's still going to run the football, at least half the game or more. And in a lot of those cases, you've got to be really good at defending the heavier run game. And Iowa presents all of that. A little bit different style than Kansas State in that there isn't the quarterback run game, but as far as the tight ends on the field and as far as being physical, creating space, it's a type of game that creates different challenges. So it's always exciting, I think, at the college level, the different schemes that you get from everybody, really. I just talked about trying to win our 10th game, trying to win the last game of the year. It's no different each week. You've got a different challenge. So, it's pretty simple. We're coming off, a loss in our last game.
Dressed like this, though. All right, with Lane Johnson of the Sooners. He's you're already rolling, right?
Already rolling, yeah.
Yeah. Who have you interviewed so far on your team?
Tyler Evans, Kenny Stills. Who else? Donald Stevenson back there when I had time to get away from the cell phone, and Ben Habron.
Now, as you're doing the interviews, who are the really good interviews on your team? The ones that you've done. Who are the really good guys to interview?
Tress Way is always good. Ben Habron, he likes to do a classy interview. He's really good with people.
Who's just kind of disappointed you today? You walk up and you're doing your thing. You're like, I thought they'd be better than this.
Well, I haven't got to everybody. Donald was obviously texting on his phone, and I kind of got his attention, and he ended up giving a great interview.
So I'm interviewing Lane while Lane is interviewing himself, and it's on the World Wide Web. That's pretty cool. You've never done something like this before.
Never done this in my life.
Yeah.
It's going great.
Now, if you were interviewing me for your show, what would you want to know?
I want to know, how's it feel being professionally dressed, and how's it feel being around all these big-time athletes, big names,
right.
big egos.
Right.
And just how you feel being around these type of people.
It's intimidating.
It's
for you to interview me, it's scary. So I get right in on this camera like this. Yeah. It's scary to have somebody like Lane here because he could just break me in two, just turn me over my knee and beat me up. Okay, so I'll interview you.
Okay.
Is this what you want to do in the future? What I'm doing? Get all dressed up and do this?
Maybe.
Stuff?
I never thought myself or saw myself doing something like this, but now I'm kind of getting comfortable in front of the camera, and it's kind of scary because I really don't know what's going to happen, when I get in front of it.
Well, here's what we could do. I could give you this, and you could do that, and I could interview you with your camera.
Okay.
Here, we'll just switch, okay? So Lane's got it. I got Lane's camera now. So go ahead. You're doing the Insight Bowl thing, and I'll just interview you.
Lane Johnson here at the Insight Bowl.
Yeah.
Who would you like to interview? Your favorite person out of anybody?
I'd really like to interview Lane Johnson.
Lane Johnson? Well, here he is in the flesh, number 69. We've had a few minutes rolling so far. It's been great. Sure, this is some good footage. And after Frank Alexander gets done, I'm going to attack him like a lion on the antelope. I'll tell you that
Let's
much.
do that. You go get him, and I'll walk over and I'll just follow you. I want to see you in action, Lane. Go get him. Go get him. Just go get him. All right, this is Lane Johnson in action. He's in action, and he's going after him.
So, how's it been so far here in Arizona? Isn't it nice?
All right, so there's Lane doing his thing. We're going to send it back up to Coach Stoops, having some fun here. This is what you do on these types of days. You just see things that come along, and kids being kids. And we'll send it back up to the podium to Coach Stoops.
Dante Nicholson. We've had a lot of guys. The ones usually that we have had have for the most part, really made a big difference. Well, hopefully not. Hopefully they do their work in high school and don't have to go those routes if they don't have to. I've just had to recruit my wife to be on my side here the last few weeks. But I said it earlier, she walks around the house every Saturday morning yelling at the children, "Go Hawks." So she can't do it this week, though. But so anyway, you know, it's different because of I've got a lot of close friends still there. You know, a lot of great sentiment to everybody in the Iowa program and the opportunities it gave myself and my brothers, our whole family, really. So it's different, but you know, once you get playing, once you're on the field, you get in your mode and you do what you always do, try and win. Yeah, no, I wouldn't say that. Still, it's different than breaking down tape and really studying somebody. Well, sure. You know, how will the other guys do? We'll have to see because there isn't a lot of tape on them. I said it earlier, though, they still have an excellent offensive line, and if they create space, I'm sure they have guys that'll jump in that space and make something happen. So, you know, those are issues. Or you wonder, you know, you have to consider, will they throw it a little bit more than usual? So we have to look at that. So we'll have to see how the game goes. They're looking at like they do every time you have to play. You have to win. So, you know, we've played football at Oklahoma for over 100 years. Isn't that right, Barry? And we have 7 national championships and have played for it how many other times. So every year you're not going to be in the national championship game. But you still have to try and win each and every game you play. And that's what we're trying to do. James? I think it could be really tough, definitely, and I admire, you know, Kirk and Mary to the way they've, you know, Brian, you know, did really well for him, and James is an excellent player for him here this year. So I'm sure they've had times where it's been trying, but it's been, but they seem to have managed it better than a lot of people have, or at least that's not fair to say. I don't know that anyone's handled it bad. It's just I would think it can create a little more, you know, stress or, you know, difficulties, but again, the family people and Kirk and Mary they seem to have really done well with it. Maybe not. You're not in. Yeah, so offensive linemen generally don't have as much focus on them or limelight, and don't quite have the get the attention. You're right that maybe the quarterback or obviously quarterback, running back, receivers sometimes get, definitely. Well,
Okay, we've got strong safety Aaron Colvin with us for a couple of minutes. Sooners getting ready for Iowa on Friday night. How's your week been?
It's been great, being down here in Arizona. I love the whole West Coast feel, so I'm loving it.
Yeah, 70 degrees isn't bad.
Oh, it's not bad at all, especially from where we're coming from.
Yeah, what is it back home today?
I haven't checked today, but I'm sure it's cold, windy. You never know in Oklahoma, so you don't know what the weather is.
It's supposed to be 70 all week. Okay, I don't want to rub it in on y'all, but 70 all week. That's good stuff. Yeah. What's been your highlight away from football? We'll get to football in a minute, but what's been your highlight being out here so far?
I definitely love the whole scenery. Like I said before, I love the whole West Coast feel. So seeing houses on mountains and whatnot, it's a really cool sight. And then the whole shopping. I love the shopping. They got some really good malls out here. So,
So you went and toured the mansions, drove through the big houses and all that stuff?
Exactly, especially to get to this building. A lot of mansions, on hills and whatnot, and it was a sight to see.
Okay, and then you went to Scottsdale Fashion Square? Went to the mall there?
We didn't get to go to Scottsdale this year. I went to Arizona Mills, Chandler. I went to basically every mall we could. So.
Hit them up, having some fun. You've been out here before. What have you been able to experience this trip that you haven't in the past?
Really, last year we were in Scottsdale, so this year just being on a whole different side of the, Tempe and Phoenix, it was really cool. I loved Arizona last year, so this year it wasn't really much new that could impress me even more. So I'm loving it out here, and I'm taking it all in.
Okay, let's talk football. You got your game face on. Are you at that point, or is it 48 hours away? Is it you all locked in?
No, coming down here, we have something to prove to not only ourselves but everybody else. So our game face has been on for 2 weeks now, getting prepared for Iowa, and we're going to try to go out there and perform.
What do you know about the Hawkeyes? What do you see on film?
Very physical team. Big team teams usually seem to be more physical, and but you can't only abide by their run. They also have a pass. Big play receivers. Quarterback does well with looking off, and really they just have it all, and they don't make very many mistakes. So,
do they remind you of any team you've played this season already?
Not necessarily. I don't think we've seen a team to this caliber of physicality. Guys out there not making mistakes, and they have some big-time play receivers too.
Enjoy your day. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
Let's send it back up to Coach at the podium. Clear.
But I'm not complaining. No one gets more disappointed or angry than I do, when we don't win. So that's the competitive nature in you. But and that's just how it is at some places. Oh, absolutely. And I think for good reason, in that I still feel connected that way. I still have guys I played with still living there. Relationships with Kirk and his secretary, Rita, John Streif. There's so many people that I know there that I remain when I'm able to catch up with. I'll go back now and then. My wife's from Iowa. So we from time to time will go back and to see people and to be there. So sure, it's and having been there when I was there 10 years. That's a significant period of time, and so I still remain and feel connected. There. Cresco, Iowa, up in the northeast area near Decorah. Well, I feel good about everybody except the right tackle, Lane Johnson. If we could get him to move his feet a little better and to find his linebacker that he's going up to, we'll be in good shape. Not let the linebacker run through like he did the other day at practice. Yeah, we might put him at tight end. We'll just flip his number, make him 96 instead of 69.
All right, we're with Landry Jones, quarterback for the Sooners, getting ready for the game on Friday night. Everybody's asking about your future, so I'll get it out of the way. You're just going to take this right down to the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone back and forth so many times that I don't really know where I stand or even what I want to do. So I think I just need to sit down and when I'm away from my next game or anything like that, just kind of clear my head and think about it.
Decompress.
Right, exactly.
How many times have you been asked about your future, by the way? We've been here a half hour. I would guess I was standing here about a dozen already.
Yeah, probably a dozen. I've asked a couple times about what I'm going to do, and I feel bad telling them I don't know because I really don't know what I'm going to do yet.
Yeah. You know you're going to play Iowa. What do you see out of the Hawkeyes?
Really solid team, really disciplined on defense, do a really good job of gap sound just as far as the run game and in coverage. They don't let people by them. They don't blow a lot of coverage, so they do their stuff and they do it really well. And it's going to be a pretty good challenge for us to go against these guys.
So earlier today, I had the Iowa players here, and all their defensive players kept saying to me, Brad, he reminds us of Blaine Gabbert, who we played a year ago against Missouri. You see that yourself?
I don't know. I haven't really watched Blaine enough to really see a huge resemblance. I'm sure there's some things that
they're saying big arm and things.
Right.
Like that.
Yeah, I'm sure some of those things are similar to the style that we play, and our offenses are kind of similar just as far as up tempo, no huddle, and along those lines. But I haven't watched Blaine enough to really know if we really do or we don't.
Yeah, you'd say, well, what are you kidding me? That's not me. What is it this week that you've experienced, because you've been out here before, that you haven't in years past to Arizona?
I think the hotel experience. Last year we're in a different hotel, and this year I can't remember the name of our hotel, but it's really, really nice, and it's been really great just to stay here. And the weather was a lot better this year than it was last year. Last year it rained a couple of days, but this year it's just been really nice. It's been a really good trip for us.
You can look in the camera and say 70 degrees and just rub it in.
Yeah, 70 degrees here, 32 back in Oklahoma.
Have fun. Thanks for the visit.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Landry Jones with us, and Coach Stoops is finished up with the press conference. We are going to shoot it up there and maybe hear a little bit more from the coach. Thank you.
Hey, no problem.
Fun stuff.
Appreciate it.
All right, we want to thank you for joining us over this morning and this afternoon with both the Iowa Hawkeyes and the Oklahoma Sooners. The game is on Friday night. It's a late kick here in Arizona, even later, of course, in Iowa and Oklahoma, and a great matchup with the Hawkeyes taking on the Sooners. You see the trophy here that they're playing for in the Insight Bowl. Thanks again for joining us. Enjoy your day.